Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science and Technology. In today's show, Camera Tuesday, we're going to talk about IT32, iFlash Camera Flash. This is from a Godox, so let's dive deep into it. Now, why do we need something like this iFlash? Well, reality is mirrorless cameras no longer come with a pop-up flash, meaning there was a time D3100, D5200, those sort of cameras, that pop-up flash was always a thing, even in Canon's Rebel lineup. But now nowadays you have reached a point pop-up flash is almost gone. Mirrorless focus so much on compactness that you don't even have useful feature. So that creates an issue. Now, companies justify it by a few main reasons, which again, most of them are true, but it's limiting a whole line of photography. First is weak. Generally it will be because you're not going to give this big of a flash on a tiny body. Physics does not allow that. Cool, awesome. Second, weather sealing. The idea right now is that if you are buying anything from mid-range to high-end, those should be able to go through mild rain without going kaput. So having a flash mechanism that does reduce that ability. Second is size. Not only it's close enough to your camera, and it had that issue like this. I have personal experience with like D3100 that if you had pop-up flash and you had 70 to 300 mm lens, if you zoomed in, the lens will cast shadow because again physical location was not far enough. So that created an issue. But even though camera sensitivity has gone throughout the roof, there are still whole sectors that need flash photography. Flash photography is essential. It's not something that you're like, lol, who cares? No, it is essential. It has to be there. It's not optional. It is compulsory. So that created a scenario where while professional hardware is there, it is idiotically expensive and bulky, plus its poor user interface. This I have to say, all the traditional companies, they're too goddamn stuck in that tradition, and it's like, in 1987 we used to make things like this, we'll keep making it like this. It's like, bruh, get over it. Make something new, make something more compatible. It makes sense. Like it's how many electrical equipment, when they have a fault code, they give you a memory random things like a blinking sign and all that. It's like, dude, you can just put a OLED screen into it, and I mean like basic OLED. That's like 99 rupees or like $1. And again, back in the days of early microcontroller, we barely had kilobytes of memory. It made sense. We have megabytes of memory now. You can store what exactly is wrong with it, but you don't. That's the whole point. Like that, if a psychological evolution never happened. So new companies or third-party companies, they are the one pushing it ahead, whereas like, no, what if we try it? So that's the part I have to say, that user interface wise, this looks like somebody sat down and it's like, okay, how can we make life better? So that is there. And IT32 is under 10,000 rupees. That's a big deal. And under $105. Like most places you're gonna get it for $100, but that's a big deal for a modern flash. And that is like not the bottom of the barrel, but it is like decent enough. That's like, damn. Now this is Godox iT32. This is a small, compact, powerful unit. How powerful? Camera flashes are generally either measured by joules, but again only pro camera body will tell you, pro flash unit will tell you, or they will tell you guide number. Guide number, to give you a context, this puppy has 18. How much is that compared to pop-up flash of old days? Those are generally 10 or 13. And you might be like, that's not a big jump. The jump is exponential. It's like decibel. So even 1 or 2 decibel jump is a significant jump. Same thing is happening here. So it might look the same, like, oh, 18, 13, 18. No. It's a massive jump. So it's big. And again, look at it. Second aspect is USB-C inbuilt battery. No longer you are having that swappable, what we call AA batteries. Although I do wish that battery might be replaceable. But again, looking into the main chassis, it has screws. So it might be replaceable. Not by user, but at least a technician. 400 shot battery, which is very decent, meaning in most scenario, unless you are going full flash all the time, you should be able to drain your main battery and flash battery at the same time, meaning neither one will outlast the other. So that's there. TTL system is supported from all camera manufacturers. TTL simply means through the lens, meaning camera, before when you press the system, it will take a brief flash. It will have a conversation with the camera where it's like, bro, I'm firing off a shot that is like half of my power. Now why would you do that? Well, half of the power gives the camera wiggle room. If everything is getting overexposed, camera will either make a decision to reduce the ISO, or it will make the decision to half power from that power, meaning 1/4 the power of the flash. And again, it is otherwise like it's just not bright enough. It knows that it has to go all out. So that's why what we call through the lens, and because it's literally reading the data from the sensor, it has very high accuracy, meaning you can get exposure wise precisely how you need it to. The heads is flexible, which again for such a low cost device it's good, where you can rotate not only in one axis but in other axis also. So that's a desirable attribute. Touch screen, finally, if you have way too much interface, if you have to dig around it too much, have a goddamn touch screen. Like this has that, like DJI Mic 3 has that. Like we got this, we have the technology, cheap enough technology. So that is there. LED modeling lamp, meaning this LED is a full-fledged lamp. Now, is it as powerful as like full LED video light? No, but it is more than good enough as a field light, or if you have no other light source, this is shut up, take money kind of territory. So fundamentally a decent add-on, not to mention it will also help you to figure out how the shadow works and lighting works. So then the main flash works, the point source remains the same. So directionality, shadow casting, they will remain the same. Of course, intensity will change. And it can even do strobic flashes for 100 shots, which again, this is not big enough to have giant capacitor bank. Like there used to be, like, you know, for proper like modeling photography, they literally have a box this size running on AC mains, not battery, AC mains, charging up ginormous capacitors and going bam. So of course it can't go toe to toe with that. Now we come to the main star of the show, Godox X5. That's the receiver, the small part that is below it. This supports all the camera brands, meaning Leica, yes, Fuji, yes, Sony, yes, Nikon, yes, Canon, yes. It supports all of this. And the way they designed it is very clever. They're like, okay, hot shoe on paper supposed to be like hot swappable, but every hot shoe is different. And I do not mean the digital pin. Even removing that, the actual how it's having conversation with the flash, how much camera can control the thrust output, I'm saying basically the brightness up amplitude, that also is very difficult. So triggering will always work, let that be very clear. Or a hot shoe should be able to trigger a flash. Does not matter which brand and which manufacturer, it should work. But any advanced communication will not work. That's those small like 2 or 4 pins that you see. Yeah, that's proprietary. That's only in that brand to brand, basically Panasonic to Panasonic, Canon to Canon, Sony to Sony. If you swap it, you will be able to trigger it, but everything has to be done manually. No digital handshake will happen. So they solve that issue. It's like, okay, I'm going to create my own bridge, so to say, the remote control, so to say. This is the remote. So you can take the flash head from Sony to Canon without any issue. You just like plonk it and put it, the end. And because they are selling this separately, I can easily see that the likelihood of you jumping from one brand to another brand is much lower, but jumping within the brand is very high. And you could have a scenario where you have multiple cameras and you may wanna, like, you know, hey, what if I want to do is flash with this? And then sometimes like, wouldn't it be great if we could do flash with this? So that's a very low cost addition. And yes, they are selling it for reasonable price, like under $20 kind of. So you can make sure all camera body has a receiver unit. That's a big thing. And it's a multi-use system. Not only this is just a bridge, it's also a remote control. Not only it will work on camera like a normal flash, but it will work as a remote, meaning you can plonk it and just put it offside. And trust me when I say this, pop-up flash does give people a bad experience of flash because all the photos comes out burnt. And because again, the flash axis is exactly the same. The flash is not high enough, so there is no shadow casting. And again, worst case scenario is the lens itself casts the shadow, which would be really ugly. So if you can do this, like plonk and do this, you'd be shocked how much more dimensionality would be there. Like there would be interest in the photo. That's why whenever you see modeling photography or any time where people are professionals are using flash, it's rarely that they ever have like point blank flash. It's always to the side. Which side, that does not matter, but it always has to be there. Unless you want to make a Dracula, you can put the flash on the bottom. But generally, you will offset the flash. It must not be on the same optical axis. Offset it. You will be shocked how good light it looks. And this switches between them without any issue. Meaning you put it on, da 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 da. Artistic. You can go YOLO on it. So that's a big jump. And just pull out and point to whatever you want. Like doing this, are there any other flash that can do that? Yes. Are they cheap enough? No. Are they small enough? No. Are they convenient enough to go from like on camera to off camera? No. So that's the core aspect of it. The usability, like going from one to another, like doing this, you can't do it that fast as in like in any other brand. So fundamentally, that's the whole point. And it can work with multiple flash unit, meaning this transmitter can talk to other receivers, meaning you can have like 3 flash points set up and all of them will work with one of them. Like, you good. It's a very advanced feature, and it's like, bro, take it and go. Take it and go. So from a usability point of view, there is no discussion. Like, there is this and everything else. That's how big of a jump usability wise it is. Now we come to the usability part of it, as in not too expensive, and cost is comparable to the cheapest first party offering, be it Sony, be it Nikon, be it Canon. There could be a scenario that the first party offerings are way too expensive in India, but like I've seen most places, even checked in B&H, yeah, it's expensive. First party ones are expensive, and compared to this price, this looks like a bargain. And off camera flash photography, it's very hard to get into, because again, people do that. Like, that's a normal thing to do. It's just painfully expensive to do. This makes it just like plonk, done, the end, go home. So that's a very big thing. Pro level flash photography is now cheap. Like, it's cheap kind of. Like, your camera battery would cost more than that, and people generally buy multiple battery. So it's there. And support for all camera brand is also desirable, and plus having the fact that you can buy the independent unit as a separatable sold item. They are expecting you to buy it. Like, oh, I have 3 Nikon camera, buy 3 of them. Like, they're expecting it. The price is kind of reasonable. So I'm like, damn. Now, is there anything that I saw that was like, come on, you could have added that? Yes, one thing. I really wished it had a dry test fire, because right now it will only fire if camera triggers the flash function, and then the flash goes pachang. But again, if you're doing light painting photography, you may have like camera fixed, flashlight in a fixed location, but person goes here, you take a flash. Do not close the shutter, take a flash, then move the person, take another flash, and that creates a ghostly effect. It's a very unique analog effect you can do in negative film also, and that does require you to have the ability to trigger the flash independently. That this cannot do, which is weird, because again, it's a software function, it can be introduced. So that I find that, like, come on, just like have, like, if you press both button, it triggers it or something. Come on. That, or like trigger it on a mobile phone, if for lack of a better. But be mindful, you can do that, but receiver has to be changed. For example, you have to buy some other receiver that has the ability to do that. So yeah, usability wise, like, it's mind-bogglingly good. Again, I'm not talking about longevity of the product, not talking about the cost of the product. Those things are cost. There is no comparison. Longevity, again, if you can't afford something, how long does it last? It does not actually make that much of a point. So, and again, Godox is a known brand. It does have some reputation in the market. Not the latest and greatest, but definitely good. So having something good that has this much usability is great. So this was my presentation on basically this unique Godox flash, which again, I'm pretty sure over time every brand will copy this idea, or if it's a very recent patent, it only lasts for 20 years. So it's gonna happen. Let's just put it that way. It will happen. Everybody like, why didn't we think of it? So I hope you have liked it, learn from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst a friend. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me excitement. Please leave a comment, because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.